Alright, this is Matthew Weatherby, Vegan of Power, and I'm gonna discuss a little bit of a training concept. Like, it's funny, when I was younger, because I started lifting weights when I was 27 and I started powerlifting when I was 28, I was really intense. I had like this crazy focus, this insane desire to get stronger. And I had a pretty rough childhood, so it might have come from that. Anyway, it was impressive where that would take me in my training. Like, there were a lot of times it seemed like I shouldn't have been able to get something, but I got it because of that focus and that extremely positive mindset and insane belief in my body and in myself. And then in my later 30s, I still kind of possess that, but the random changes of time started hitting me the way they hit everybody who does anything physical at an intense level. Like, I think it probably takes a while, if you take care of yourself, for you to lose enough physicality to affect your everyday world stuff, because that stuff isn't that demanding for the most part unless you have an extremely physically demanding job. But like you see all the time in professional sports, the greatest athletes we've ever had, with like some of them have the strongest mental things going on, the strongest wills, the strongest competitive spirit, but eventually their body can't do what their mind wants to do anymore. Even Michael Jordan, who was insane. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a more competitive man than him, a man with more self-belief in himself than him. But he, when he came back for the Wizards in his late 30s, like I think he was 38 when he started and 40 when he was done, he was nothing like what he used to be. His basketball IQ was still insane. In fact, it may have even gotten better because he expanded it to compensate for his thing. And he would still have flashes of greatness from time to time because he had that insane competitive spirit and people would set him off. But man, were his knees getting to him that time. If you read the book When You Can't Come Back, like, they were icing them before and after, and they were really messed up at the time. And when he was young, people would always tell him things, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, because normal physical limitations that would take people down, they just assumed it would be the same for him. But he had such a good body and such a strong mind and such a belief in himself that he used to overcome these things all the time. So when people would tell him things, he wouldn't believe it, and he would most of the time prove everyone wrong. Well, so when you read the book When You Can't Come Back, it may appear he's being stubborn and stupid, but when you base off his experience, how he had always proved people wrong before, you can see why he was responding the way he was. But even though he had that belief in himself, his body still wasn't coming back. And he still managed to do awesome things, like set the record of points for a person over 40, which was 43. That's awesome, because he was Michael Jordan. He had so many tricks up his sleeve. But I'm just saying, even the greatest lose stuff over time physically. And so when I was in my late 30s, I no longer had that magical power. I would think I would just will this up and it wouldn't go up, and then it got worse. Like, I would think I had something and I still wouldn't get it, and that starts messing with you. You don't approach stuff with the same mindset. Anyway, what brought this specific subject up was yesterday in the gym. I did something that I've been doing a lot recently, which is where I've let myself down enough, I've failed to achieve what I want to do enough, that sometimes I'll get frustrated and be sick of failing, and it will provoke kind of like that old focus, that old intensity. And sometimes when I do that, suddenly I'm strong and I move something that I thought was going to be harder, easier than I thought. And what's funny is I think, oh, this isn't so heavy. And then right when I think that, I like lose that insane determination and focus that this is really, really hard. I have to take everything in my being to get this up. And I just think, oh, I can do this with muscle power alone. And then I fail on the next rep and I'm like, darn it, because the rep right before that felt easy and it didn't feel like I should mess up on the next one. So they say everything's mental, or it's 90% mental or whatever, and I think that's a huge exaggeration. But when I was younger, the mental aspect of my training was so good that I didn't see the mental effects quite as much as I do now, that my mental game's been taken down a lot due to a lot of physical failures over time. And so that's the concept. I was just thinking it's funny the way just the amount of focus and intensity you put into something can so drastically affect a certain weight. Like, it's not like I can slack off and focus on strength alone and do like 200 and then turn on the focus and intensity and put up 400. It's not that extreme. But if you're using like the same weight, like yesterday I was using the 130-pound dumbbells when I did that, and man, they went up so easy on that second rep, and that's what triggered that, oh, I got this isn't a problem, and it took off that intense focus. And then on the third rep I only got about halfway up and the struggle began, and I got conquered and it irritated me. So it's minor, but it's there. So if you train hard enough, you probably know what I'm talking about, and if you're new to training, it's something you'll get to know as you move along. So I just thought I would bring that concept to light, because it's funny the way the mind and the body work together. It's whole human experience is just something else.